Happy Wednesday morning, everyone. It's nice to have you here, and it's nice to be back on streaming again. It's been an odd couple of weeks, very busy, and so the streaming schedule has been very irregular. Plus, someone keeps stealing my microphone, so I got it back this morning, and we're off. So this odd diagram you see in front of you is the plan view of our little octagonal Romano-British or Romano-Celtic temple to Newton's, that god, who is sometimes associated with Mars, sometimes associated with Mercury, I think. I don't know. This is not my area of specialism. But here we go. Here we have it, and we're going to try to get this into the game. So we're prepping it right now. It's an 8-sided temple, and it's actually only made of 2 main building pieces. And so we're trying to give the player just a couple of options, just to add a little bit of interest should they actually uncover and rebuild this building. They may never see this building. It depends on other events that happen in the game just prior to when this building might show up for the first time. But we're putting it in place right now, and we've got most of it prepped. I'm just right now prepping the what I call a building block, the area of the temple where if the player mouses over, they'll see their rebuilding options. So I'm just trying to lay this out right now with these little planes. So that's all we've got today. So we don't need any of this kind of material. Hang on just a moment. Just going to double check that something's actually working. Hold on. There, you've seen a thing. Great. Right. Okay, back we go. I just want to make sure we weren't getting like double or triple feedback or something like that. So I've been playing with audio settings in OBS. That's it. It's been a long time. Like I said, it's been a weird couple of weeks. Not really weird in a bad way, just really busy. Okay, I need those right there. And I need this just slightly off the plinth level. And you can see all sorts of Z fighting here. And that's totally fine. That'll probably do for us. These are just placeholders just to help me to get everything set up right. And so I need to set this center point back to the center. So at least with a centrally planned building like this, in some ways it's easier to set up. Once you've actually got all of the angles and things worked out, it's easier to set up all of the kind of cloned pieces. So we're going to call this temple block, and then we're just going to duplicate these around the temple. So here we go. And that needs to be duplicated by 45 degrees. And then we're going to do another one of them. We're just going to keep going around the circle here. There we go. So these will overlap a little bit. They might look a little chaotic. -180 is of course meaningless. What are we heading towards here? I never quite remember. That'll do. And one more. Okay. There we go. Those are our blocks. All right, good enough. So this mess here is actually our temple. Oh, let's put the mosaic back in. It's not really a mosaic, but anyway, let's put the basics of the floor back in. Okay, everything's been prepped. I've got vert colors on the things that need vert colors. I've got parts that need UVs because they're going to use that Kajiro fragment shader to come back into place. And then I've got things organized in groups that just are individual objects that need to kind of come into space. So I've got my blocks, and I've got my blocks. I've got my fractured objects, my hold objects, my prototype objects. They've all got UVs if they need them, vert colors if they need them, materials assigned. And they're all keyed to this central place, which is 9.09 degrees off, because that's the random nature of the thing. So anyway, the big kind of choice the player gets to make when rebuilding this temple, in a future version, we'll make it so that the outer ambulatory around the temple is either solid walls or a little arcade. But for now, I just wanted to see if I could get this into the game, because I'd really love to get a demo out by the first part of August, and I've still got a long way to go. So niceties like lots of player choice isn't going to happen, but the one choice we do want is the player to be able to choose which of these 8 walls they want the door to go into. In fact, I might let them just choose between doors and windows on every single wall, just for some choice. And that would actually make the coding of it simpler too. Okay, so let's save this one. Let's open up a new one. And we're just going to get this null. In place here. Let's see, the outline mat doesn't need anything. This does. And let's restore those colors. I don't know what this guy's problem is. I don't know why we're not getting our colors in. Doesn't matter. And maybe if we get rid of some of these, we'll see them. Doesn't really matter. Our colors exist, I think. We'll find out. I'm going to actually... Am I going to get rid of all of these? Yeah. I just want these models here. And we'll get rid of this central null. They're all keyed to it anyway. Okay. Ooh, I'm having trouble with our cursor. All right, doesn't matter. Well, let's keep going with this. Let's save it. Oh yeah, we're not saving it here. We're going to save it on the removable drive. Not Tom, Rom. Okay. I should come up with better naming conventions. It's one of those things you always start with good intentions and then everything collapses. That would be what a project manager would do, or a boss. Okay. Let's export this guy. Yep, that's what we need. Let's export it. Okay, I'm going to export it again. I'm going to export it straight into the Unity project file. Just gotta find it amidst all of the bajillions of things, buildings, etc. That looks like a good place for it. Now let's watch this not come in anywhere near where it actually needs to be in game. All right, let's jump over there. All right, so I've been working quite hard on trying to get this twinned phase here, this Anglo-Saxon church and this little Roman temple tomb, not really a temple, but a little mausoleum. I've been trying to get them functioning together because they both get destroyed at the same time, and I'm 90% of the way there, and I figured out what's going on with why these are being shaded incorrectly, and it has to do with incorrect base meshes and duplicated meshes. I fixed it on this one. I haven't gone in and spent the time to fix it on these, so just kind of ignore those black spots. Instead, we're going to leave this aside, and we're going to work with the octagonal temple tomb, which is really little, not temple tomb, just temple. It should appear somewhere right here. So, I had this open because I was trying to figure out how I actually rebuilt things that were composed of kind of multiple different ways of fragmented objects rebuilding themselves. And hopefully this will work. But it's going to take quite a lot of setup, but we might as well do that. There's our place where we're putting our buildings. Okay, here we go. It looks ugly. That's great. What we want. None of these have to be... I don't have to access their verts, do I? No, I don't think I have to access their verts. So I can do all of this, and I don't have to calculate or import any normals on these guys. They'll all be dynamically reconstructed, will they? Oh, crud. Here's the issue. Do I have a Kijiro shader? The Kijiro shader may need to have its verts accessed. We'll have to see about that. All right. Okay, so there's a mess, and that's good. 2 materials, 3 materials, apparently. Okay. This one's just going to be called outline. Ooh, so many outline materials. That's the one we want, though. And these others are going to be our reconstruction ones for now. Yeah, there. See, now we've got our vert colors in place, and it's flashing because we've got lots of overlapping geometry right there. Okay. Right, let's drop this in and see what happens. Drop it into our Roman period. Yeah, that's not even remotely the right place. You see, it's also quite a little building. Yeah, the one in Pagan's Hill that it's based on was also kind of little. There we go. Let's see, where are we going to go put this? There's the original one we had. There it is. That's where that one originally lived. So hopefully they're all keyed up correctly. So if I put this one in here and then zero out its... Okay, I'm not going to zero out its rotation because I messed with the rotation quite a bit later or earlier. So let's stick that in there, and let's actually just turn that one off, but we may get rid of it entirely. 101 to 500 are its start to end dates. Okay, good to know. All right. At least it's in the scene, so that's really nice. Let's solo it out. There we go. Thank you again, Ava, for showing me this Shift-H command. Really nice to see that I can solo things out if I want. All right, so now I've got to walk my own brain through how we need to fix this. All right, let's try with the Roman mosaic. There's a few things I say need to fix. So there's two different ways in which things get rebuilt. One is they get rebuilt piece by piece, and that doesn't require any special shaders. And another one is where the actual polygons that compose each object get shattered and scaled and rotated individually. And that requires the thing that I'm calling the Kajiro shader. Because Kajiro, who is an astonishing shader wizard, an effects wizard, shared the code for this. It requires some special processing, and I always get the thing wrong. And it may be that the shader that does this normal reconstruction, DDX, DDY sort of thing, it may mean I need to go split those objects that need the Kajiro shader. I may need to split them into a separate file. So we may go back to the modeler briefly, fingers crossed briefly, to do that. Because I couldn't get the shader to work with the DDX, DDY thing. I can't quite remember. So we'll see what happens. It'll look really horrible for a little while. All right, so let's see if I can get this mosaic floor to work with the Kajiro shader. And the way I'm going to do that first is to process the mesh. So let's go dig into that. This is the one I want. All the different pieces. There we go. That's the one I want to process. There's our mesh. Nice. All right. And where is my little utility to do that? I can't even remember that. We'll find it here in a minute. Probably. Where did I put that? I never remember because the mesh processor. Ahaha, the not skinned vertex modifier. That's the one we want. So this was originally made for skinned meshes, which is even a more kind of, skinned and animated meshes, but I kind of stripped that out of his code because none of my meshes are skinned. Okay, let's convert this and see what happens. Nah, it didn't work. So the big question is, what did we run out of here? So here we go again. I do this so infrequently that I always forget how. So we may need to process a second set of UVs. I assume that because all of this kind of magic is done on UVs. And I thought I had changed the code on this to add a second set of UVs if it needed it. Wow. It's got 3 sets of UVs. So here's my modifications to it. Oh, it doesn't have normals. That's the problem with it. Yeah, we're going to split these guys out into their own thing. So let's go back to the modeler and split out all the Kajiro required elements into their own, and then we'll bring those in. So that's a Kajiro one. So this one, and this. Those all need it. Okay. Then they'll have to be recombined. This will be a pain, because we'll break our prefab instance, but that's okay. Or break our prefab. That's all right. I hate prefabs anyway. All right, you. Let's see if we can get some verts showing back again. Yeah, there we go. Some vertex colors. Marvelous. Great. Everything's well, the roofs aren't keyed up, but that's okay. Let me just think about what I'm going to do to group these guys. No. Okay. All of these. Door, wall, fract, gyro. Oops. Okay, those are back in place now. All right, so they've got one set of UVs, they've got their vert colors, they've got their materials, they've been grouped correctly according to which mesh we need to fracture, and really in the end we'll only need one sample of the roof and the door or the inner wall. That's all we'll need, but let's for completeness sake include them all. And let's go back to where it was originally. Let's give it a name. Look, I'm trying to do a convention. Yep, export everything, and then we'll do it again and export it straight into the Unity project. And then we're going to jump over to our normal one, and we're going to delete these guys because we don't need them in this. Well, come on, you. What did I just delete? Oh, you're not liking me. Yeah, that's what I wanted you to do. All right. So these are the ones that don't need to have any normals or UVs. Good. All right. Save this one again and then re-export it. And then go re-export it into Unity again. All right, let's go see what's happened over here. Ooh, that's pretty. Cool. Okay, does it know what it's doing? Yeah, I think that's all we, yeah, that's all, that's got the parts we want. I think we're good there. And then this one needs to be re-imported. It needs to be read-write enabled, I think. And its normals can be calculated. We'll make them angle weighted. We'll make the smoothing from the angle, and the angle is going to be 0. This is going to double or triplicate our verts, but that's okay. It's just a few things that are just getting used once. Yep. And our one material is going to be the Kajiro one, I think. So should we try the flat shaded one? No, because we definitely need normals. Calculated, yeah. Okay, we're going to use this one. Ooh, look at that. That's kind of cool in the way it's all exploded. Yeah, let's see what happens. It'll already be not so good. Actually, let's make these be... the DDX and Y one, and I'll show you why in a minute. Yeah. Okay. That's all calm. Okay. I like this. This is actually kind of pretty. This little transparent figure. Pretty neat. I didn't actually think the transparent thing was going to work very well, but it works quite nice. That's very good. All right. Let's clear this out. Check winding. Nice. Okay, so we've got some issues with the mesh, but hopefully it's not enough to cause a problem. Let's go put this in its place. Ooh, it came in sort of in the right place. Almost. There. Now it's in the right place. Okay, let's go play with our mosaic again and see what happens. Kajiro export. Now let's see if we can process the mosaic. Not skinned. Mesh modifier. Hey, it worked. Man, that's nice. Okay, so there's our converted model. That's fun. Okay, now here's where we have to break everything up, I think. Okay, well that's cool. And its shader is going to be our Kajiro shader. Let's see what happens now. Okay, we're gonna have to move around this animation range. Yeah, that's a cool effect. Look at that. That actually works really well. So that's good. So when this temple plinth gets rebuilt, hopefully this will zoom in like this, and the user will experience a certain sense of satisfaction watching that kind of mosaic in. That worked really well. That's cool. Okay. That's nice to see. Okay. Let's see if we can do it with something a little more geometrically complex, like these roof structures, which should tile in really nicely if they work at all. Okay. So I think we only need to do one inner roof and one outer roof. So let's do the outer roof. That'll be the, well, let's do the inner roof because it's on the top of the stack. Okay, this has been broken into lots of different polys, even though it looks like it should just be one triangle. So let's process that. Good. And let's do the window wall. Now let's do the door wall. It doesn't really matter. That was our inner roof. Okay, so that needs this mesh, and then it needs our Kijiro as well. All right, what happens if we do this one? Okay, look at that. Look at that roof up on the top. Come in, boom, 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 boom. Just lay itself in like tiles. Oh, so nice when things actually kind of work. Woohoo! Okay, good. Let's keep moving on. Okay, so that's the door wall. The window wall just needs the exact same treatment. Uses the same mesh. And it gets the Kijiro. Oops, what did I do? Okay, so it's a little bit not 100% gone. Is that going to be a problem for us? This is something I need to really explore, is that I need to adjust the UVs so that these lower ones end up actually completely fading away. They do when they're upward facing, but the downward facing ones don't. So I've got to figure out what to do with that. But this is probably sufficient. It'll happen so fast the user won't really notice too much, I think. Yeah, so that's okay. All right, let's do it to the big roof. So, outer roof fract. Process that one. Well, at least we're having some mild success this morning, which is always nice. Feels like progress. Okay, that one successfully processed. Come on. There you go. Yeah, that's the one we want. Okay. And we'll do the same here. Yeah, these should almost be identical. So they should fade in and out the same way. Yep. That's fun. Very cool. Okay, let's try it with three more complicated objects. This inner wall and these walls. Okay, door wall fract, inner roof, inner wall fract. That's the one we need. Okay, at least it converted, so that's one step forward. Inner wall fract. Swap out the meshes, swap out the shaders, or the materials. Ugh, I am such a dummy. All right, and let's do it for this one as well. Okay, so it's funky looking. Let's see what happens when we change our animation range on this. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Look at all those polygons rebuild. That's so fun. Isn't that cool? That's exactly how it should work. And that's beautiful. Oh, that's so fun to see. Very nice. Oh, I like that effect very much. Thank you, Kijiro. It's a beautiful thing to see. All right. Two more. We got to do the door wall and the window wall behind it. All right, door wall fracked. Let's process that. Okay, the processing worked, which is good because it's kind of a big mesh. Oh, I don't know. I just see it and then I think, oh, it's selected because my eyeballs have seen it. And then I can't spell, of course. Okay, and now the window wall. That'll be the last. Interesting that the Z fighting, by the way, pattern between the shaders has made this really cool, almost zigzag marbling effect. That's an error, but it'd be cool to be able to control it. Because you can see as you move it, that effect changes, so that's not really very helpful, but cool to be able to control it and have kind of neat procedural effects like that. Oh well, smarter people than me can do that. All right, window wall. Where's our window mesh? Door wall, inner roof, inner wall, outer roof. There it is. That's the one we wanted. Well, that conversion went faster than I was expecting. All right, let's see if I can remember to actually select the material rather than just looking at it. Okay, so here it is on built, and then as it builds, here it comes, rebuilding itself polygon by polygon, which is a really lovely effect. Boy, I like that one. It's got a few little issues with it sometimes, but for the most part, it just works really nicely. So the few little issues are like what's going on with the undersides of the roof here. One of these days I'll figure out what to do about that, but that's really beautiful. What a fun effect. Very nice. Okay, that was fun. Yay, we did something right. Well, hallelujah. Okay, so for the next 15 minutes, now we're actually going to do something difficult. So now we've got to actually kind of wire this whole thing up and get it kind of in a place where we can actually let the user rebuild this building. And that's going to be a challenge. So let me just think about what needs to happen now. Well, one thing that needs to happen is we need to break our prefab instance, which is going to be sad, because what we need to do is we need to combine these Kijiro things that we've created. We need to combine those with the regular ones, because we need this broken object hierarchy to be very specific for our rebuild effect, because we're combining two different methods. So all of these members, let me think about this. Let's jump back in. We've got to push this animation level down to 0 anyway. So we have this kind of outline shader thing. That's the preview object. But then these little individual roof timber members are going to animate in as though they were fragments. So they're going to actually kind of zip in from the ground, which isn't great, but it'll be good enough. So we've got to have all of this kind of run in one big issue. So what'll happen is that the walls will rebuild. First this one, then this one. Then these individual elements will start to zip into place. And then the roofs will rebuild at the end. Although we'll see these fragments kind of appear briefly. Oh well. Okay, so all of that has to happen here. So I need to start to combine these two. So I'm just trying to look. Okay, it's the fracked part here. Window fracked and door wall fracked. Let's work with the door wall one because it's on the top of the stack. Okay, so right now all it has is the roof members, which are just these things. We need to add in the other one. So if I start to do this, I bet we're going to break the whole thing to pieces. It's going to squawk at me. Yeah. We've got to break these prefabs down now. Oh well. Okay, let's unpack the prefab. And we've got to unpack this prefab too, I bet. Yeah, it doesn't like that. Sometimes you can add new things, but I don't think you can mix. I've never really quite understood the prefab workflow. I've just never bothered to work with it because I never work with individual pieces that can be repeated a lot. So it was never something useful to me, which I know is like a fundamental Unity design, and I just don't do it. Okay, so the inner wall one, and then the door wall, and then the roof, and then that. So these things rebuild in their order top down in the hierarchy. So we'll call not the inner roof. In fact, the inner roof's going to be our last object. We're going to call the inner wall first, then the door wall, then the roof members, and then the roofs themselves. Okay. So that's there, and then this needs to go away. And now let's do the same thing for the window wall. Let's grab all 4 of these at once, why not? So inner wall goes first, window wall goes second, outer roof, and then inner roof. Yep. Okay, so that's properly stuck together now. And that can go away. And then the mosaic is going to come sit on top of the plinth there. And then this can just be deleted completely. Okay. All right, now comes the really complex part, setting all of this up so that it'll do its rebuilds and all that kind of stuff. I gotta think about this for a little bit, how we're going to structure this. So each one of these blocks needs to be given a block rebuild thing. Yep. And these holes and all that sort of stuff, yeah, they need their thing. So let's get going on this. Okay. This door wall hole does not need the outline material on it. In fact, it needs the regular old normal reconstruction material on it. Yep, there we go. And this one does too. There we go. Okay, so we fixed a material problem. That's great. Fractured objects. Let's start with this one. Okay, first thing it's going to need is a GUID component. Then it's going to need a whole object behavior, and this is one of the more complicated scripts in the project. It's going to be off on start, that's for sure. It doesn't need a fractured object. It doesn't have any submodels because we're trying to keep it simple, stupid. Its date, I guess, is 101 to 500. And its orientation, who knows? It has its own mesh renderer, which is right here. We're not going to fade the materials at this time. It doesn't have a parent GUID. The cloned object thing will be set dynamically. That should be all we need for this one. It doesn't need a fractured object. That's going to happen for the prototype. Okay. I know I'm not making any sense. You'll see in a moment. But we should probably pre-populate this script. Okay, so now it's set its original bounds and done some other stuff. Okay, now let's go to the proto. Give it a whole object behavior. It also needs a GUID component, and it also needs a prototype behavior, bit of object data. Okay, so does this one need to be off on start? I don't know if that particularly matters. We're going to throw all of these way off, like 3 kilometers to the east or west as well, just so that they're properly out of the scene. So even if they do accidentally turn on, we're not going to see that. We do need to include the fractured object, but we don't have fractured object set up yet. So we'll do its date just for kicks. We will do its mesh renderer. Okay, we're not going to pre-process this one yet, because we need to set up the fractured object, which is going to be a nightmare, which is why I had one prepared earlier, albeit for a different part of the building. So tower fract, no, not tower stuff, I don't want that. The tower arch, that's what I want. Okay. So it doesn't need a GUID, so that's nice. So we'll start with that. It just needs the fragmented object here. These are the door. We want to make them one off. This is not shader based. This is a group. Do I have a date for the frag? Let's see. Apparently I do have a rebuild date. Okay. Does it need an orientation? No. It's a group. This one's a one-off, but ours won't be. It's a whole object. Okay. It has a group delay. I don't know if we really need the material set. We'll see what it does with that. Just trying to see what else we need to have set. Okay. I'm just going to jump in and see if it has any other whole objects defined. Just the dummy quad object. Okay, that's right. This doesn't even have a dummy object because it's shader based. But it does have its material. Okay. Okay. That's fine. I think I kind of understand the template. So its whole object is going to be this creature. So this is the object it replaces it with when it's done doing its rebuild. And it has a date, which is the year 200. It doesn't need orientation. It is a group. It's not shader based. It's not a one-off. Its material is going to be the DDX material. It doesn't really need a vert color set as far as I know. 100% of fragments are needed. We don't need any object audio going on here. going to use a group assembly delay. So what that means is that every object is going to have a little delay before the next one is called in its reassembly, so it'll look like it assembles itself in a series rather than all in one big go. That's the idea, at least. That causes troubles, but we'll keep on with this. Okay, so that's the group setup. Just going to jump in here again and see if I don't need any GUIDs on these guys. No, I don't need a box collider. I don't need a layer changer. I don't need the vertex color adjust. Just the fragmented object behavior. That's handy. Why I say that's handy is it's just one less thing to keep track of. So all of these guys are going to have the same settings. All going to have a fragmented object. They're all going to have a dummy quad. Which dummy quad hole do they need? Probably will choose the wrong one. This will probably cause trouble later on, because I've got duplicate dummy quads in here. Okay, orientation, they've all got a date of 200. Their material is, oh yeah, they don't need a frag mat. Nope, sorry. This material down here is what they need. Okay, they've all got that. Don't think they need anything else at this time. Okay, good. Oh, I did this one totally backwards. Ugh. What a dummy. These are shader based. They're frag mat. Ugh, jeez. Oh, well. It feels like a Monday for me. I know it's Wednesday. Feels like a Monday. We'll get there in the end. So all of these guys are the same. They've got that. They're shader based. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's fine. That's better. And then this one, it just needs the fragmented object behavior. It is not a group. Oh yeah. It needs a dummy. The dummy's just a placeholder, but it kind of like keeps the code running. And it's just a hack, like everything I do. But it kind of works so far. Kind of gets in the way sometimes too. Okay, all the rest of that is fine. Yes, that's okay. I'm going to save this because otherwise I'm just going to totally be destroyed here. Okay. All right, let's see if we can process all of these guys all at once. Well, let's process these guys first. So pre-populate them. Okay, they've all been pre-populated, I think. Yeah. Good, and then I'll populate this one. Good, it's got all of that. All right, that one was all set up. Okay, I'm gonna set that one up for the wall with the window in it. So we did it for the door. I'll do it for the window wall, but that's something that I'll probably have to do just a little bit later this morning because it's already been an hour and I got work and other things to go to. So the family's kind of here, there, and everywhere this week. So don't have to get the kids ready for school or anything. School's out anyway. But it's time to head to work. So got to do the day job sometimes. Anyway, it's okay. This one has been going pretty well. We still haven't done the hardest part of the setup yet, but we're getting there. So I'm pretty positive, and that's a good thing. So that's all for me for now, and hopefully no one will have stolen my microphone, or there won't be anything other strange that will show up between now and Friday. So enjoy your Wednesday and your Thursday, and we'll see you back here on Friday morning. But for now, have a great day.